Mama always said the NHL season's like a box of chocolates. Never know what you're gonna get. Hey, hockey fans, welcome back. Welcome in if this is your first time to the channel. I'm Josh. This is the Hockey Flow, and today it's Monday, September 12th, 2022, and that's right, we're diving deep into the box of chocolates that is this NHL season, and we got one question for you. What am I most excited for? That's right, we're going to dive into it. We're going to go through 3 different topics that I am super excited for the upcoming NHL season. With the help of Jfresh Hockey, Hockey Prospecting, HockeyReference.com, we dive deep into 3 topics. We're going to look at the youth movement in the NHL, including the Calder Trophy race. We're going to look at a changing of the guard, perhaps, in the playoff race. And then we're going to look at storylines from 5, maybe 6 different teams to get us prepped for the NHL season. So let's get into it and see if we can answer our question of the day. All right, so first and foremost, we got to talk about the youth movement. So I did title this the Calder Trophy race, but in reality, I just want to talk about the excellent state of the NHL and the youth movement. Right now, the NHL is in a wonderful spot. We have so much young talent, so much good young talent, that's producing. But the Calder Trophy race is always going to be a hot topic, so we got to break that down. But let's get into the other young players first before we get into that. So like I said, it's not just the Calder Trophy race, but it's the amount of young talent in the NHL in general. So first and foremost, let's look at our scoring leaders and our save percentage leaders. We look at our scoring leaders, we only had one person, and that was Steven Stamkos, who was in the top 10 in scoring last season, who was over the age of 30. Everyone else was 28 or under, and a good chunk of those, I think it was at 6 there, are 26 and under. So just from a scoring standpoint and an offensive standpoint, the established superstars are young and still growing, right? That's awesome. That's so exciting to see. And then the tendies. The tendies are no slouches either. We see there only 3 of the top tendies in regards to save percentage last season were over the age of 30. Now, we do have a few more that are a little closer, and we don't see any super young players establishing themselves just yet, but we see Igor, right? King Igor leading the charge at age 26 with that .935 save percentage. Check out our video on his historic season, because it was absolutely historic. But the tendy spot, it's being held down by some young talent. But okay, we're going to talk about the youth movement. We got to talk about the Calder Trophy race, and I am absolutely pumped for this year's version. So I highlighted a few players in particular. I took 5. To be honest, there's a lot of really great articles out there, a lot of really great videos breaking down the Calder Trophy race, but I did like the Daily Face-Off article that did mention these 5 players in particular, and one of them is a name that I haven't heard folks talking about a ton, myself included. I'll absolutely lump myself in there, but I'm absolutely pumped looking into. So let's dive into these guys as well. The 5 players listed here: Matty Beniers, Kent Johnson, Mason McTavish, Owen Power, and Jack Quinn. And that's the one that I'm super excited for, Jack Quinn. Don't get me wrong, all 5 of these young lads have excellent NHL careers ahead of them and are probably going to have really big seasons. We pegged Matty Beniers on our breakout video. Be sure to check that one out as well. Kent Johnson had an excellent offseason and played really well for the Blue Jackets to end the season. Mason McTavish, talk about an offseason. His tournament with Team Canada was absolutely fantastic. And in his 9 games with the Ducks at the beginning of last season, he showed well, and honestly, I was kind of surprised they sent him down, but you didn't want to burn a year if we're rebuilding, right? And Owen Power, boy, did he look like he fit in last season. I think right now he might be the favorite. It looks like he's kind of number 1 on a lot of people's lists, but the dark horse, the person that I might be most excited to see suit up this season for a full season would be Jack Quinn with the Buffalo Sabres. His numbers with the Sabres, nothing necessarily to write home about, except that he was a point per game player. Sure, it's only two games, tiny sample size, but boy, did he look good on the ice. There are going to be detractors out there, right? Folks that say maybe his skating ability isn't going to be quite good enough to be considered a superstar, but man, his ability to shoot that puck, manipulate the puck on his stick is fantastic, and his season last year in the AHL was absolutely otherworldly. He was Rookie of the Year, but he put up like 60 points, almost 30 goals? Let me know in the comments, guys. Absolutely. But Jack Quinn, if he comes back healthy, ready to go for the Buffalo Sabres, I think he's really going to be a dark horse and has a chance to really make an impact for this young Buffalo Sabres team and maybe shock the world. Could win the Calder Trophy. Look out, folks. No one was saying Maurice Seider was going to win it last year, and he surprised us all, even up until the announcement for a lot of us, myself included. I did think Trevor Zegras was going to win that puppy. But wherever you fall on the Calder Trophy race, you have to agree that the NHL is in an excellent spot, young talent-wise. The league is being carried by young superstars, and we love to see it. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Austin Matthews, Matthew Tkachuk, Kirill Kaprizov. The league is diverse and young, and we're hungry, and man, I am excited to see these young kids develop. But who do you think is going to win the Calder Trophy? Let me know down in the comments. All right, so we went through the youth. Now we're going to look at the changing of the guard, quote unquote. So I thought it'd be fun to look at the standings from last season because I think we're going to have a little bit of a shuffle in regards to the playoff picture moving into this coming season. I think we are going to see some established teams maybe fall off, maybe start to decline this season. So each division, I listed all 4 divisions here, and I think we may see a team actually not go to the playoffs that went to the playoffs last season, and then another team actually replace them in the standings. And it kind of makes sense, right? We've been doing a lot of videos talking about a lot of teams. Could they actually make the playoffs? Ottawa Senators, Anaheim Ducks. Well, maybe, right? If all the chips fall right, check out those videos for more on that. But for this discussion, absolutely, it is a possibility. So let's go through the divisions and see who may be out of luck and who may be fitting into that new changing of the guard. So I do think time might be up for the Boston Bruins and the Pittsburgh Penguins. I know folks are going to come after me for the Penguins comment because that team is built to win now. To be honest, it's now or nothing, right? That team is very old. Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin. You just brought back Letang as well. You're betting on your old horses continuing to do well, and don't get me wrong. These guys aren't to be put out to pasture by any means. They're not too old. I did see a stat that was really intriguing that superstar players who average 0.9 points per game for their career, they tend to keep that superstar status and average at least a point per game through their age 39 season, and then that's when the drop-off happens. So Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, they're not to that point yet, so I still think they could have some good seasons left in them, but it's sort of a house of cards situation, right? Sidney Crosby is one bad hit away from maybe his career being over, and you hate to say that, hate to even put that in the atmosphere. Let's knock on wood real quick, all of us collectively, because Sidney Crosby is one of my favorite players, player of our generation in so many ways, but man, one bad hit and we see what happens. And can Evgeny Malkin, can Rust, can they carry this team? We just saw that Colorado Avalanche pick up Evan Rodriguez, who first half of the season was absolutely dynamite for that Penguins team last season. Second half of the season, sure, wasn't up to that same level, but still was no slouch, and the Avalanche got a little bit of a steal. But I do think that if certain things happen, the Pittsburgh Penguins may be out of luck, but the Boston Bruins, they're going to be without Brad Marchand and Charlie McAvoy to start the season, and they're also old. They're also just a couple of injuries away from the whole house of cards falling apart. So those are 2 teams in particular. And Washington, we can also lump them in a little bit too. Alexander Ovechkin was excellent last season, but he is getting close to that 40 mark. He takes care of his body amazingly, but my goodness, you just have to wonder when the decline is going to happen. Was last season an aberration, or was that going to be the norm for at least another season? I don't know if he's going to put up 40, 50 goals again, 35, that would be excellent. But again, no backy, right, for the Capitals. So injuries, age, it's going to play a factor for them. I'm sorry, Capital fans. I think you guys are closer to the playoffs than the Bruins or, Penguins. You guys do have a solid team, but there's just something something deep down that tells me this is going to be a rough year for the Penguins. But I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again, so take it with a grain of salt. But I do also want to watch out for the offseason darlings, right? If these guys are going to miss the playoffs, someone's got to make the playoffs. The Ottawa Senators would be a perfect replacement for the Bruins within the playoff picture just right here. We look moving down to the Metropolitan Division. What about the Columbus Blue Jackets, right? You brought in Johnny Gaudreau, you re-signed Patrick Laine, you got the young kid Kent Johnson. There are some other young players on that team too that they're building around. Are they a playoff team? The New York Islanders were supposed to be a playoff team last season, so there's some good teams in that Metropolitan Division. What about those New Jersey Devils, right? Devils fans, is this the year that you guys make a colossal jump? You got a lot of really great pieces in place. Can we supplement or can we continue to build on the roster that's put in place? Can we continue to grow? Is this going to be the season we see that big jump? Potentially, right? We marked them in yellow there as a maybe. Maybe they swap out with the Capitals if a couple more players make that big jump. Jack Hughes continues to grow, becomes the superstar we know he's going to be. So I want to keep my eyes out on those teams as well. We move over to the Western Conference and the Central Division. The Winnipeg Jets, they were supposed to be better last season. I know we got some turmoil in Jets country, and Pierre-Luc Dubois isn't sure he even wants to be there. Says he does, right? Mark Scheifele, if he comes out firing like he has in the past, maybe they do rebound, right? He had a real slow start last season. The St. Louis Blues are a team that I say to look out for. I don't know why, but again, I've got a weird feeling about them. They didn't really do much in the offseason. They were really strapped for cash, and now Binghamton is going to be their number one tendy. No Ville Husso to save them this season. So the Blues are another team that I'm watching in the Central Division. We move over into the Pacific Division, and I highlighted the Anaheim Ducks because they're my super dark horse. Odds are, yes, the wheels might fall off a little bit and we enter rebuilding mode, but boy, if they actually do put it all together and some magic happens, they might be the team to watch. And the Los Angeles Kings, nothing against the Kings. The Kings had a great offseason, brought in Kevin Fiala. They have a lot of really young talent, good young talent. Does Quentin Byfield, does Turcotte, do they take the next step forward? We shall see. I'm not too confident in that necessarily. I think Quentin Byfield's going to be a great player, but I don't know if he's going to progress that much this season. So maybe they regress a little bit and don't make the playoffs. I just say keep your eyes on these offseason darlings, right? We got to see, winning the offseason, does that mean success in the regular season? But Jersey too, absolutely. Let's keep our eyes on the Devils, right? Devils fans. But all right, that's going to be our changing of the guard, right? Keep an eye on the playoff picture. I'm very excited to see what happens there. But then we want to dive into some storylines too. Some of these teams had great off seasons. Some of them may have won the Stanley Cup last season, Avalanche fans. But whatever it may be, I've got some storylines that I'm excited to keep my eye on for this season. So first and foremost, we're looking at the Ottawa Senators. We see a lot of red on that player card because they were rebuilding, right? Last season, they weren't very good. And this season, now it's accelerated. We did a video on the Senators. Is the playoffs, is that a reality? Be sure to check that one out. Let me know what you think on that one as well. But can the Senators actually make the playoffs? Can DeBrincat, Giroux mesh with the already existing young talent that's in Senator country? Or will the Senators, maybe they won't live up to expectations? I'm really excited to see what this Ottawa Senator team does. Can Brady Tkachuk captain them to glory? I'm very excited to see that. How about the Columbus Blue Jackets? Is Johnny Gaudreau going to transform the Blue Jackets into an offensive juggernaut? Him and Patrick Laine, are they going to play on the top line together? Is it going to be a super line? I would love to see it. Where's Kent Johnson going to slot in on that team? Are the other young players also going to start developing or continuing to grow? Adam Boquist, is he going to take a step forward defensively? We know he's great offensively. I'm excited to see what the Columbus Blue Jackets can do this season. Now, I'll be the first to admit it. It's tough. As an Edmonton Oiler fan, it's tough to bring up the Calgary Flames, but I'm excited to see what this team does. You don't just lose two superstars, bring in another potential superstar, Nazem Kadri, without there being a little bit of a change or a little bit of a time for adjustment, right? Are they going to come out the gates firing? Are they going to prove the world wrong? Is there going to be some karma in the hockey world for the Calgary Flames? I'll be very excited to see. Can Nazem Kadri keep up the pace that he put up last last season with the Colorado Avalanche, or was that more of a product of the team that he was on? Absolutely excited to see how Nazem Kadri does. Can the Colorado Avalanche, and here it is, here's the thumbnail, we're wearing the jersey for you guys. Can you guys repeat as Stanley Cup champions? The team has the talent, absolutely. The big question is going to be in the Tendy spot. We look at that player card, that team card. Big shout out to Jfresh Hockey on these puppies. You see all the magical numbers, right? All beautiful. But the Tendy spot, 16th last season. So they went ahead and let Darcy Kemper walk. They bring in Alexander Georgiev. Is he going to be the answer? They have a ton of faith in him. For a lot of folks saying a career backup, I don't know. I think Georgiev's going to play really well for them. I think the Avalanche are a smart franchise. You got to trust in Joe Sakic. You just brought in Evan Rodriguez on the cheap. Great signing there. But can they ride Georgiev to the Cup? Can they repeat? I'm excited to find out. And will the Toronto Maple Leafs, will they break the streak, and will they make it past the first round of the playoffs? We did another video breaking them down. I'm looking for Mitch Marner to have a great season, but I think they might do it. No spoilers, but absolutely, I think this is going to be a good year for Toronto. They got a lot of young talent. They got a lot of pieces in place. They did a good job supplementing that roster this offseason. And last but not least, we couldn't mention it without mentioning my team. Let's go Oilers, baby. I think we're primed for a deep run. We had a great season last year. We kept the gang back. We brought in some other players to supplement the talent. Jay Woodcroft is back. Dylan Holloway, Philip Broberg, the young talent is starting to emerge. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited for hockey just in general, but let's go Oilers. But what don't we know yet? That's going to be the big question, because every year things happen and we are not expecting it. So what are you most excited for this NHL season? Let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you guys. It's always so much talking with you, but I'm excited for the NHL season. I'm excited for everything that we talked about, and I want to know what you guys are excited for too. So let me know in the comments. Smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I appreciate y'all. Until tomorrow, cheers.